one second. My volume seems really low. I'm going to fix that before we get started here. I don't know why it's been doing this lately. Let's see if that's any better. There we go. Much better. All right, try that again. Welcome to this episode of the PA System. On this episode, I'm talking with Caroline Passmore about how to prepare for the upcoming tax season. So welcome to the show, Caroline.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
It's great to have you here. So this is maybe one of those topics that for a lot of people, is a little bit almost like dreaded. So I think we're going to make it a little bit interesting and hopefully a little bit fun and definitely informative. So, but before we kind of jump in, for those who are listening and may not know who you are, tell us a little bit about you and your mission.
Well, I prepare books, bookkeeping, which is actually the side of bookkeeping is to prepare the books to taxes. I don't do taxes, but I prepare the bookkeeping to taxes. So that is getting everything in an accounting system to have all of the accounts reconciled and everything prepared so that you can take a financial statements and everything to your tax preparer so that you have everything set up and ready so that everything is organized to be able to have your taxes prepared in an organized manner.
Yeah, which is a bit of work. And I know for people like me that this isn't necessarily their expertise. It takes a little bit of knowledge for sure and support. So I'm hoping you're going to kind of walk us through this a little bit.
Yeah, that it definitely is something. If people are not really familiar with how the process works, it is a learning experience. I have many people who come to me and they have not, they either haven't prepared their books for years. There are those. And that is even that they haven't even done their taxes for years. And that's, and that's a hard thing to deal with because I then have to go through and do all of the reconciliations for sometimes many, many years.
Right.
And so that is a long process to take, sometimes can take me, 6 months to just prepare their books so that they can get their taxes done. So it really, if someone comes to me at this time of the year and says, hey, I need my books caught up or cleaned up. And there is a big difference between catch up and clean up, because there are those that have tried to do their bookkeeping up to this point, but they just didn't do it correctly.
Okay. Yeah.
So that has to be cleaned up.
Right.
Because if it hasn't been done correctly, and it doesn't matter whether it's been done in QuickBooks, Xero, Wave, FreshBooks, whatever the accounting software, it still has to be fixed and corrected.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's called a cleanup. Then if it hasn't been done at all, then they have to choose whichever accounting software, because it really doesn't matter. There has to be a software that has to be implemented. And then we then take that information from the beginning of the year and we catch it up to current. So that's
so how does someone know if they even need to do either of those things?
Well, it really, if you're a business, I would highly recommend that you get your books done in an accounting software. If it's just personal, more than likely it's not a necessity unless your accounts are very complicated. If you do a lot of investments and things like that, and your books are very complicated, I would recommend that you do something that you have your books done in something. In Xero, there are a couple of accounting systems called Cashbook and Ledger that are a little less expensive. I think they run $7 a month and $5 a month.
Okay.
So It's not an expensive accounting system, and you can actually have a bookkeeper like myself. I am actually an accountant, so you can have a bookkeeper observe and oversee your books in an accounting system such as Xero, in that cash book and ledger accounting system, so that you can feel comfortable. You don't have to have them do the work for you, but you can have them oversee what you do.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's kind of, it's a little bit of comfort, if nothing else.
Right. All right. So once you've kind of, gotten a system in place, then what's your next step?
Well, once the system is in place, then you obviously, you have, your reconciliation every month is being completed, and that your bank statements match, everything that has been in place. So that at the end of the year, of course, you have with with the primary, at least within Xero and within QuickBooks, you can upload all of your receipts. You need to have some place to upload receipts, because especially with all of, we've got 87,000 new IRS agents coming into play.
Right.
So be very cautious of the fact that an audit is something that we have to be very careful of. So, and those audits are not in person any longer. They're going to be virtual. So we prepare for the fact that should an audit be occurring, you have to know that we're going to have everything has to be uploaded and available to them. So that's financial statements, that's any receipts that are to be matched. They're going to ask for those things to be available to them. And that could be as far back as, 5 to 10 years. So we need to be aware that this is something that can be asked. So, it's something you don't want to be able to have to do, but it's something you have to be aware of.
Yeah. And so what are some of the, I guess, maybe like road signs along the way, indicators that you have that, okay, maybe I'm at a point where I need to do something a little bit differently. I need to get a little more organized, what have you?
When you have overwhelm and you just realize you cannot do it for yourself, it's time to seek help. When things don't serve you in your business, especially when you find things are, you need to spend more time on your business, and this is something that is best outsourced to someone else, it's time to seek help. That's
it's
just the
interesting.
reality of it.
Yeah, I run into this a lot with clients as well in marketing, where it's sort of like everyone has the sense that they can sort of do it themselves, right? They'll figure it out. But I think we all sort of know deep down when we get to a point that there's, we're not either in the marketing world, like we're not getting leads, or we're not getting visibility, or whatever, the things are that we need to really grow our business, they're not happening, right? And so it's a little bit easier in marketing to see, oh yeah, guess what? Didn't have sales this month. I probably need to do some marketing. But it might be a little harder to identify that in your bookkeeping. You may or may not be able to say, look at it and go, yeah, this is the point where I definitely need to call in a bookkeeper. So, how do you kind of talk to people to help them understand, okay, here's what the benefits of having a bookkeeper are, so that people really understand, this is when I get to this point, this is what this is going to save me versus trying to do it myself?
Well, if you find that you are doing your books more hours than it's taking you to, that it would take me to do the books per se. So say it's taking you 5 to 10 hours a week to do your bookkeeping.
Right.
And you could be spending that time in your business, and realize that it's not going to take me that amount of time to do your books. So you have to balance out, because it's going to take you a lot longer to get to do your books. And it's going to, it's time you could be spending making money in your business. And that's where you have to take that balance and realize that that's the value that it's providing you by outsourcing that work.
Yeah. So, and I think it's interesting too. Bookkeeping is sort of one of those things that isn't the most simple, right? So,
No.
if you're trying to figure it out yourself, you may or may not get it right anyway. But even using some of the software that we have now, that's pretty straightforward. There can be certain things that maybe you don't know how to account for, say some of the tax pieces and things like that. And so, what does it look like, on average, to have someone do your books and to try to sort of get ready for that? What does that process look like?
Well, in what regard? In as far as
Yeah, what are the kind of the preliminary steps you need to take to get ready to have someone take over your books?
Oh, okay. So it would be me doing, I would have to go in and take a look at what has already occurred if there's a live set of books, because, realistically, it could be that it needs a cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you've already been doing the books for a period of time, we more often than not don't. If taxes have been done the previous year, we won't go past previous year's taxes. We will clean up from previous year to current, because if taxes were done, we'll start at the time taxes were done, clean to current, because there's no sense in cleaning prior to that unless there's something that is glaringly going to change the tax return from the previous year. Because if there's something that we can see that will make their taxes better from the previous years, we want to do that.
Okay.
So, obviously, because we don't want them to lose out any tax benefits. And,
Right.
if they'll make a tax adjustment, then that's something that we want them to benefit from.
Sure.
But that's generally the only time we'll go past the tax, the previous tax year. But we go in and we will do an analysis of their books to see what is actually needed. And then we'll give them, an honest review of what's going on. If it needs cleanup, then it needs cleanup. But a lot of times it's just a matter of taking over. If they've had a previous bookkeeper, then basically it's just a changeover of the books. If they didn't have a previous bookkeeper, then we'll review the books. We let them know if there's cleanup and the cost factor, and then the cost moving forward. And it's very simple. It's not complicated. We do not make things complicated, or at least I don't.
Right. So essentially, they've got to kind of have some of their basic documents together. It sounds like probably all of their
Yes.
income statements,
Business,
bank accounts.
We need to see their business structure and previous year's tax returns. We need to understand what their business structure is, because business structure plays a big part on it.
Okay. Yeah. And so once they've sort of got all that together, then they have to find a person, and they find a person. Unfortunately, in this case, if they don't know where else to turn, you're right here in front of them, and you also
Absolutely.
have referrals too. But
Absolutely.
this is what you specialize in.
Yes.
And then, once they, are ready to kind of get the ball rolling, then what are their next steps? How do they actually, pull everything together and then, get in touch with yourself or someone like you?
Well, once we make that decision to move forward, we set up a consultation is always the best way to do it. Is set up a consultation. We talk face to face by Zoom and discuss the terms, because it's the easiest way to, because personally speaking with someone is always the best way to discuss how you're going to work with someone, and you figure out how you're going to work with them. And that way you can also decide whether you're going to do a monthly Zoom and whether you're going to decide, it breaking down every little aspect of how you are going to work with that individual, because every
Okay.
client is different. Every client has their own things that they want out of you, because there's so many different
Sure.
different things that with each client.
Yeah, sure. And if someone wanted to reach out to you personally, how would they do that?
They can either find me on Facebook with my name of, well, my middle name is my maiden name is Gobeil, Gobeil, which is how you can reach me on Facebook, and or my email, which is caroline@crpspecialists.com, and or my website, which is www.crpspecialists.com. I can always be found there as well.
I was going to say, and for those who are maybe listening and not watching, that link will be in the show notes as well, so you can go to the website from there. And any closing thoughts, any just important little nuggets that you'd like to share with the audience before we kind of wrap up today?
Yes, I actually, the other thing that I do as well is I do coach bookkeepers. So I love helping other bookkeepers to help their business thrive. So any other bookkeepers out there that really are in need of assistance, one of the things that I truly love to do, I love to have them that I love to help them by letting them intern in my books as well. So that is something that just warms my heart. Let them, assist me with my books until they can gain some confidence, earn, so that they can build that, get past that imposter syndrome, because it's huge when they come out of those courses and they're not being supported. I help them get past that to to build those skills that they have not yet built, because they don't have any clients. So
Sure. Yeah. Love that.
that's big for me. And then if they then want coaching after that, then we'll discuss that further.
Perfect. Wonderful. Well, I so appreciate you being on today. And, for all of you out there who are listening, if you've gotten some benefit from this today or learned something, then please by all means share this out. There might be someone else who needed this information as well. And if you are looking for an accountant, Caroline, I can testify myself, is a wonderful person to work with. So I recommend her. And just appreciate you as always. I think doing our books isn't one of the most exciting parts of our business. Most of us don't get super excited about it. So there's definitely pluses to having someone sort of manage that for you. It adds that little piece of accountability. I know for me, that's great. And also, it just keeps things neater and tidier as well. So just thank you all again for being here with us. We appreciate you. And I look forward to speaking with you again next week. So good night, everyone.